Hello, so this YouTube video is to help you with your periodic trends assignment for this week. So let's look over this assignment and see what it is you're expected to do. For the first section, you're going to start by reading a portion of your online textbook. So if you click on this hyperlink, it should take you to this website, which is the website for our online chemistry textbook. So your reading assignment is going to start on page 59. So at the top here, you can type in page 59, and you're going to read through this section that talks about atomic radius. You're going to read through the section that talks about periodic trends, that talks about group trends, and talks about ions, how ions form, ionization energy, ionic radius, electronegativity, and a summary of the trends. So that's pages 59 through 68 that have this information about the trends. You're going to use this information on pages 59 through 68 to answer these questions, to define what these trends are that we're going to be investigating in our activity today. Okay, so that's the first section, the level 2 background information. In the next page on your Google Doc, you're going to look at the procedure for our simulation. So again, there's a website here that's given for you guys to use the simulation. So I'm going to click on this website to show how you'll fill in this table and the final table, which explains what you will see in the simulation. So let's go to the website. I'm going to copy and paste this into a new browser, and I'll fix the hyperlink later. So I'm going to open up a new browser, and you'll see this interactive periodic table. Okay, so let's look at the instructions on our Google Doc. It says, using your computer, navigate this website. You should see this picture. Now in the table, it's asking you to describe the trend left to right across the period, right increasing or decreasing, and the trend top to bottom down each group. Again, you're going to write either increasing or decreasing in the table here. So let's start with atomic radius. If I go to the simulation, let's look at example from our second period. So here is an element, lithium. I'm going to click that as my first atom, and then I'm going to compare lithium to another element in this row, fluorine. That's going to be my second atom. Now, if we look at the values here for atomic radius, it's kind of small to see, but you can see lithium has an atomic radius here of 167 picometers, and the atomic radius of fluorine is 42 picometers. Okay, so you can see that the trend here as we go across the period, the atoms are actually getting smaller. This atom has 3 protons, this atom has 9 protons, and so the atoms, the atomic radius is getting smaller. So in the trend, I'm going to write that it is decreasing for this property of the atomic radius. That's what I'm going to write here in the table. Okay, to figure out the trend top to bottom, I'm going to go back to the simulation, and now instead of choosing atoms that are in the same row, I'm going to choose atoms that are in the same column or period. The column, which is the group. Okay, so let's go back to the simulation, and we're going to click the reset button. So you see this little button in the top that looks like the refresh symbol. I'm going to click on that. That'll reset my simulation. So now I'm going to continue to work with lithium, but now instead of choosing something in the same period, I'm going to choose something in the same row. You can choose any of the columns, it doesn't matter, but just pick things that are in the same row. So again, lithium's going to be my first atom, and then I'm going to pick cesium as my second atom. Okay, again, the trend that I'm investigating is atomic radius. So again, I go back and look at these numbers. Atomic radius for lithium with 3 protons is 167 picometers. The atomic radius for cesium with 55 protons is 298 picometers. So if I go to the trend, if I go back to my chart, top to bottom, what I notice happening is that my atomic radius is actually increasing. So I would write increasing in this table, in this space. Okay, so you'll see that there are 4 properties that you're going to be investigating. Now, to investigate ionic radius, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create some ions. So what I suggest that you guys do when you reset this is compare neutral atoms to each other and then remove an electron by dragging it to create an ion. What happened when I removed my atom? Did the atom get bigger or smaller? So I want you guys to think about that. What happened when these atoms get bigger or smaller? Okay, when we removed electrons, when we made it more positive. So what's the trend for cations? And then to investigate negative ions, you're going to see if you can find out information in your textbook about what happens to negative ions. So right here, groups 16 and 17, when they gain electrons, this would be our neutral atom. Okay. What happens to the ion, which is the purple circle? So for ionic radius, think about what happens to our positive ions, all these ones in green, and what happens to our negative ions, all these ones in purple. You can use this information in your text to help you identify that trend. For ionization energy, the values will be given on your simulation. So look at those numbers and compare the numbers. And for electronegativity, which is our final trend, you're going to refer to this chart to compare the numbers, what happens across the periods and what happens down each group to the numbers. Are the numbers increasing or decreasing, and why? So that's the level 2 procedure. And then for our level 3 task, you're going to explain each one of these trends. How did the atoms change across the period? What is the explanation for why it either went up or down? What is the explanation for why this trend either went up or down? Okay, and we're going to explain the trend across the period and down each group for all of the trends that we observed in this activity. So make sure you answer all of the questions for all 3 pages of this Google Doc and submit it online through Canvas. Okay, I hope you found this video tutorial to be helpful. Again, if you have questions, please reach out to me and I will help you explain and teach you the periodic trends.